Hey everyone, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, cool. I think Commissioner Roblin is having some technical issues right now, so I'm gonna give her a second to get back online. I think someone else was made the host since she dropped. Can someone make me the host? I think it's Rachel.
Yeah, I think it was Rachel too.
Okay, just give me a sec.
All right, cool. Thank you so much.
Mhm. Okay, I think I did it.
Yes.
Great. My phone's in Spanish, so I was a little rusty on my Spanish, and I was like, is this the proper word for host? I think so.
That's perfect. So I appreciate it. Um, hold tight.
Hi, Ms. Berry. Can everybody hear? Hi, this is Anna.
Yes, we can hear
You're,
you. We can hear you.
oh, great. So I'm on my way home, unfortunately, but everything's good. So yeah, whenever you're ready, Ms. Berry, you can go ahead. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining.
How many folks are on?
So right now it looks like we have one, two, three folks. I'm on twice because I was trying to join on video, but I'm on my phone
Yeah,
too for sound.
yeah.
So thank
I'm
you so
actually
much.
I'm actually going to try to go
Um,
on my computer instead of my phone because my phone's not charged. So hold on.
Oh no, that's
Um,
okay.
open. Let's see. Join from your browser. We use Teams, so I never have
My preference is Teams most of the time, but I know not everyone has the ability to join because some of the functionality of Teams.
uh
So hold on. All
all
right.
right. I'm going on. Hold on. I'm going to shut my phone down.
Recording in progress.
All right. I think I successfully did it.
Perfect. Yes, and we are able to hear you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining.
Absolutely.
And I'll hand that virtual mic over to you. I know I appreciate you for being able to talk about kind of clean city, making sure folks know how to adopt blocks,
Yeah.
and any other good news you have for us.
Yeah, I'm going to actually pull up the Adopt a Block website and I will share that if I can figure this out. Okay, let's see. Share. Okay. Can you guys see that?
I can see it now.
You can see it now. Okay.
Yep.
So my name is Maria Berry, and I am the director of the mayor's office of the Clean City. And one of the big parts of my job is to work with community engagement and working with our mayor's office, our constituent services reps. I don't know if you know Christian or Anthony Black. They are what's called a moker. So they are kind of in and out about in Ward 5. And I work citywide, right? In all 8 wards, working with community groups or just neighbors or ANCs to adopt blocks. So what is an adopt a block? It's pretty easy. It is 2 to 4 blocks is typical. However, if you are doing this kind of as a broader ANC, I'm also a commissioner in Ward 4, so I kind of know the ropes, but I have to keep that very separate from my conversation now. So, so that said, I think it's really great. I don't have that many that have done this, but I think it could be a cool, almost pilot, if you will, to have blocks that are throughout the ANC, potentially kind of contiguous, or, you know, or kind of close by, so that when you do the community, the court, so here's what, sorry, I'm tongue tied, it's late. To be an adopt a block, it's, you put in an application, it's super easy. You select the blocks that you want to adopt, and then the commitment is 2 years, and you do quarterly cleanups as a minimum. And then after each cleanup, there's something called a post-event like survey. So you write in there, and this is really important. A lot of folks don't do this, but going forward, I want to really have people do this. But you submit like how many bags of trash, what was the most common type of trash, and that stuff does get looked at because we actually have to put those numbers to the Department of Environment to meet the zero waste goals. And then also that's how we know that, you know, you did the cleanup. Before you do the cleanup, 15 days in advance, you would, you register your cleanup, and that way you can select a pickup spot for the trash. So for instance, if you had 5 commissioners or 4 commissioners, if you're still with me, and you each adopted, you know, 4 blocks, 6 blocks, 8 blocks, like whatever you think you could do, then on the day that you guys decide quarterly cleanup, you can have neighbors, you know, businesses, like whoever you want, your own family, students can get, you know, community service. And we give out bags, trash pickers, and gloves. And then the Department of Public Works, they're the ones that come and, you know, when we schedule it, but we need that 15 days so that all that trash you collect is in one place. Or in this instance, we might do, you know, 5 separate community cleanups, but you guys will all be working together. So you'd have like 5 different trash collection points. And then DPW offers brooms, rakes, and shovels. And I will tell you, brooms and rakes are actually like super helpful. They have a $20 deposit. The other thing as an ANC is that you guys can use your grant fund, you could use your funds, right, to do these community cleanups, because it's not a duplication of government services, right? So so that, you know, if you guys wanted to have the ANC own, you know, whatever, 10 rakes and 6 shovels, or, you know, whatever you think you need. The other thing is, if somebody has some of these materials, like feel free to use your own, you know. And also if you have neighbors that are community members that are really into gardening or other kind of beautification things, like there's lots of ways to incorporate that. We don't necessarily have the stuff, you know, we're not going to like give you plants or anything like that. But I successfully, before I even was an ANC commissioner, I did a big transformation of Hamilton Park here in Northwest. And we did a lot of different beautification, you know, projects. And they're very welcomed, right? The main thing is you just have to, you kind of gift it to the city, and then you have to do the maintenance of it. So there's also something that Department of Environment puts forward, and I'm not sure if you have any of these. I'm sorry, I couldn't do the walkthrough, but I'm happy to come out another time. But where it's called like green infrastructure. So you probably have some, but it's like areas, either from a sidewalk that's kind of been a lot of cement and kind of useless, and they kind of can turn it into almost, it's not like a park, but it's a lot of, it's like native plants, and there's a design, and it's all, they take out some of that concrete, and it's all to manage, water, the watershed better, and have not, have permeable soil, or, different tools they use. There's a lot of them around, and they're growing, and they really spice up the area. So I'm not sure if you have any there, but that's something we can look into, or you might know off the top of your head from your own neighborhood. And then wherever you have parks, like I'm not sure what parks or, rec centers you have, or schools. So we could engage the school, and they could put in an application for an adopt-a-block. But again, like, you could coordinate when the cleanups are, but schools are really good. Library, anywhere where, if it's in a residential neighborhood, right? Like here in my neighborhood, John Lewis Elementary is, in a residential neighborhood. So across the street are a bunch of houses, and, the school adopting the block, again, you can get young students involved, or staff or faculty. I've worked with Bria Public Charter School, and they are just a school for 3 and 4-year-olds. And let me tell you, they did a cleanup with their staff. They had timber pizza out there. The kids had these little tiny trash pickers. I took pictures. I mean, it was the cutest darn thing ever. But really, the heart of this program, yes, it's about cleaning, but ultimately really is about engagement. It's about getting people, especially in these crazy times, to gather, to have something consistent. A lot of places do a monthly cleanup, depending on your area, where there's kind of a lot of stuff. Like I said, the rakes and brooms are really good for the sidewalks or tree boxes, to get all that, what's called micro trash, cigarette butts and paper and different stuff. The trash pickers everyone loves, but honestly, you don't need a 1-for-1. Like, that's really good if you have maybe someone who's older and can't bend down. But the real point is to, like, get those gloves on and just pick stuff up, right? Because, but again, you can make it fun. I mean, what I like the idea is if you do it to scale. So it's right now, like adopt-a-blocks, if you just do 2 blocks, there's not necessarily that much trash, per se. And a lot of people, again, are just a neighbor who just picks up anyways. So they're, happy to have the recognition, I guess, but they're not asking for supplies and stuff, because the supplies are really only if you have kind of like a larger, I mean, obviously bags and gloves are good for anyone, but to just think that through, because it's a pretty low bar, but I think it's a really high result in terms of, especially if people in your ANC or this beautification committee, wants to do that. So you get a sign like this adopt-a-block sign in the middle, and it tells, our signs might look a little different now, but yeah, so you could have on it your name, or the, like, the ANC, you can have, if it's by the school can say it's Brookland Elementary, whatever you want to do. We don't have, well, there are little rules. Sometimes, you can't put anything not nice. So it's not like for political messages. So, or like some people, if someone lost a life in a tragic way, or just in any way, they'll say, like, in honor of, like, they'll adopt a block in honor of someone. Or if you want to recognize, a senior, or, someone who's passed, someone who's done a lot of stuff in the community, it's a nice way, they don't have to be part of the adopt a block, but, it's a good way to recognize champions in your neighborhood. So it's really easy. This is.
And can I ask a question? Because I know right now, at least in my area, in kind of 5D06 in general, I know there's a lot of blocks adopted. How up to
Yeah.
date is the
So
site now?
what I would want you to do is, I'm just going through this now. I mean,
Okay.
I've been going through it, but so I can let me pull up the map. I'm so excited. I'm like so old and I'm like figuring out the share finally. So um let's see, block assignments.
And our committee just so for reference, is a mix of commissioners and neighbors.
Mhm.
So I know folks might be interested, and I know I hope to adopt a few blocks just in general in the area. And let me ask you this: if they notice, or like if we're doing pickups in some areas, a lot of trash.
Uh-huh.
Will the city, like, well, let me ask you this first. Will DPW come out the same day as the cleanup and pick
Yes.
up the
So if
bags?
you submit it, um, 15 days in advance is what the rules. And some of these things might be changing. There's some um, staffing and stuff that's happening. But overall, yes, if we can get this in, then David, they do that. Now, if somebody cannot, I'm sorry, I can't. Let me close this website out. Oh, screen sharing. Sorry, let me try this again. That is the big benefit of being an adopt-a-block and having that service basically come to you. If for some reason they cannot, um, if they cannot pick it up, like, or it's a Sunday, or they have such a full schedule, then you can you can still, they'll know that you can leave it in a place. And if it's not
Okay.
like a lot of trash, like, I mean, you're also welcome to just like put it in your trash. Like if each person took a bag or something, like, you know, you can figure out, you know, what you want to do with that.
Okay.
So yeah, do you have more questions? I'm going to try to figure out how to pull this up.
Just curious as to like, if let's say there's 20 trash bags in one area kind of consistently, will the city put more resources towards that area, or
If it's really bad.
yeah.
Okay. So if it's really bad, that's where we kind of coordinate with the mokers.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think it's really great to show, you know, your commitment and kind of get people. I mean, so much of this is just like the ethic around not dumping trash, right? And there's
Yeah.
a saying that says trash breeds trash. And basically if somebody flicks a cigarette or throws down a bottle, then it's like unconscious, but people are like, oh, I can just throw trash there too. So often it can be kind of amassed, and then sometimes there's illegal dumping and that kind of stuff. So we also ask people in this adopt-a-block program to basically log everything in 311, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. And if you work with the mokers, like with the tracking number, like what we could do is if there's a specific spot, like even, you know, adopt the blocks, but then, you know, we can do a walkthrough. It can be Department of Buildings, DPW. If there's rat problems, I know a lot about rats, that would be Department of Health. If there's rats, let's say in an alley, like a specific, like it's so weird. Like I just went on one of these walks in Ward 4 and like one alley is just covered with them and then like the other side is not, right? So
Yeah.
it's really how people, like if you want to get rid of rats, you got to starve them. You cannot poison your way out. And the good news is that composting, if the more people compost, that takes the food scraps out of the trash. And so if people have holes in trash cans, or, you know, there's just, the rats are really smart. They smell everything with their whiskers. I went to a whole training on this, and basically they will seek out anything from their scent. So if you compost and the residents compost, or even a business, then that's like in a sealed different container, and they can't get to it. So there are these smart bins around the city that DPW has around the zero waste that people can take their compost to. Some farmers markets do it. And then the city is expanding, you know, their municipal compost, and people can also privately pay for it, which is what I did for years before we did it. It makes a big difference. Anyways, it's something. So things like that, if you have the adopt block and your beautification committee, you know, when you're out there, it's just like another engagement, to have resources or tools, or you could have someone come out, like another person from Zero Waste, or, to talk about different things. So it really just depends on like how many people you're going to engage. For each cleanup, we ask how many volunteers, right, are you going to have? And so, if you had 5 people adopting 4 blocks, that's like 20 blocks. And, you can figure out, what that looks like. And, you might see a block that's not your official adopt a block, but if it's out there, just feel free to pick up the trash, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like a hard boundary. So, I'm going through this process trying to figure out these adopt a blocks, because I inherited this program. I started in April. The office had been kind of dark for almost a year. There were a couple directors, a few directors ago. Julie Lawson was super all over this and had 2 people in the office, and she did a lot of great work as a foundation. And what happened is though nobody was tracking, like, no, people weren't getting, I come from like a nonprofit and development background. So, renewals for fundraising, you get a letter saying, hey, are you want to give your $50 again? So in this case, people committed to the 2 years, but they weren't really registering their cleanups. So we never knew if they actually did it. Maybe they just had a sign. And then after the 2 years, or even in the 1 year, to say like, hey, I haven't seen your surveys or whatever. After 2 years, there wasn't an outreach plan to say, or an automated kind of response like, hey, do you still want to be an adopt a block? So right now I have a ton of inactive blocks, but if you can give me a list of if there are blocks anywhere, whether you want to adopt them or not, but that it's inactive, then I can very easily take those addresses and, find, or you can be the address, and when I say address, I kind of need like an address on the block. So not the corner of 5th and Farragut. I need like 1350 Farragut, an actual address. So that's something to keep in mind. So yeah, I would say make a list of those, figure out which blocks you want to adopt. Definitely hot spots. Like, if you get the applications in, I just process them. It's not that hard. The signs do take a couple of months. They come through DDOT, but 100% start cleanups, before then. And I think it's just, coming up with the strategy that you guys feel comfortable with. Like, I would love a pilot of something that has like, 20 or 25 blocks. Like, I think that would be pretty great, and you'd have really good results. And, whether it's quarterly or monthly, it's just consistent, and people, can get engaged. If you have churches or faith institutions, we have many of those that are active. Often they will have congregants, or they just want to be a good community member. What neighborhoods are you? What is your ANC? Your 5D?
5D. So we're Trinidad, Carver Langston, Ivy City, Gallaudet,
Okay.
kind of Union Market area.
Oh,
So
great.
we kind of span from like the Langston Golf Course all the way to Union Market. So we're not quite 8th Street, but we're Benning Road where it meets kind of Bladensburg
Oh,
and
yeah.
Florida Ave.
Yeah,
So
you guys
kind of
got a
we
lot.
have a lot of illegal dumping. I will say that.
Yeah, and so
It's
that's
kind of
something
rampant.
like, as you're doing, the cleanups, you can, like, let's say there's an illegal dumping and there's just like mattresses or whatever. Again, you put those through the 311. If things are really bad, then either the MOCR, can help elevate that, or potentially myself. And I've seen this happen. Like, it just happened. We did an adopt a block cleanup. Actually, it was in Ward 5 at the Academy of Hope. Is that in your SMD? Or
It's not in our SMDs, no, but it could be Ward 5. I'm not familiar with
it
it.
is definitely Ward 5. But anyways, it was in this area that I'd never been to. It was like all these auto body shops and stuff. It was not a super residential neighborhood. So I was great that they adopted these blocks around them, but it was kind of like, that's all private property, like when you're on. But there was tons of issues. So I like uploaded pictures, and they were on it because there was probably licensing issues and all sorts of fines that probably the city when to do, but they're looking for those eyes and ears to do it. And these cleanups are a great way, to do that. And also what I keep saying is to engage. So we're not asking volunteers and residents to just like do work that we're not doing, but they don't sweep the sidewalks, like the DPW is doing the streets, right? So, and some places don't have street sweeping. So it is really important. And if there's an area, let's say, back to the rats, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but on the rat situation, we need permission, because the way the rats go, they're going to go under a fence and they're going to burrow and they're going to be all over a block if people aren't managing, their trash.
Yeah.
And so if lids are open, if there are holes, again, sometimes I hate to say it, DPW, trash falls out, whatever, banana peel. So they're going to come out and they're going to keep coming out, and they don't burrow just in one person's yard. They're going to burrow wherever they can, and then they know where the food is. So in that case, to treat that area as one of the steps where Department of Health will come, they'll send an inspector, they'll figure out the burrow situation, and they'll start putting this poison in it. But you need to have permission if there's like a gate or a garage, or if it's not like an open area. So in the front yards, we often can just go in, and there's a lot of burrows sometimes there. But in the backyards, you would need permission from the block. And that's where you can come in, like having ANCs do this, it would be really helpful, because you'll know kind of a lot of those neighbors in a specific block. And most of the neighbors like want to do it, And the other thing is, if there are streets that don't have street cleaning, there is a process. If you're just noticing when you're out there, you're like, this is crazy. Like, we're just picking up all this bottles and whatever else that's on the street. You can request like a one-time, or like you can put it on rotation to have DPW come out. Or if you have like 80%, there's some sort of petition that you can also do to request street cleaning, which is 6 months out of the year. It's October 1st to March 31st or something like that. So that's also something to keep in mind. It's a lot of different moving parts, but in terms of beautification, those are really nice ways to do it. The adaptive block, a lot of people, like this Academy of Hope, they did like a party. They had a go-go band. One of them, you can really make it a community event. And I would say most cleanups, if you're in a wide-ish area and you have kind of the right people, at least 2 people, I would say 2 to 4 people per 2 blocks or something. It's usually about 2 hours. A lot of people plan like a whole kind of too many hours, but I would say 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours of, you want to make sure you have trash for them to pick up, right? Because you don't want a lot of people to come out and be like, well, this is all clean.
Yeah.
But
and I know,
yeah,
we
I'm gonna
typically
stop talking. I want to hear more from you guys.
And I'll stop talking as well, but we typically supplement our cleanups with CSOSA. So we normally have we tend to have between 4 to, I would say, 8 volunteers, just of folks that come in and assist with us. But we're trying to get more neighbors more and more out. But I'll pause just to see if anyone has questions, but I'll stop talking as well.
So yeah, thanks very much. Really helpful. I'm definitely interested in adopting a block or several. What is a moker you keep referring to?
Yes, so that is, right now the Clean City is in the mayor's office of community relations and services. So that is what a moker is.
Thank you.
There are 2 mokers per ward.
Okay.
And when you have anything that you are concerned about or have an issue or haven't been getting responses, the moker, you can talk to your council member, who's always great, but they really work, they're legislative and policy and budget. So the mokers are actually, they're tied in, they have contacts at all the agencies, and you don't want them, I don't know if you're an ANC commissioner or not, maybe you're just a volunteer. Yeah.
Just
but for the ANC commissioners, when you're trying to get stuff done, the mokers can be really helpful for you. If you're there's this pothole that you know, you would
Got
put
it.
it in 311 and, but you can, if nothing gets done and you're just like, that's like a time to call the MOCR, right?
Got it.
Or if you're having, you know, if there's safety issue, like whatever it is, the MOCRs can be really helpful because they kind of coordinate a response from agencies. It doesn't like give you special preference, but it definitely will get you to the right, you know, person. So they work a lot on, I mean, 311 is the tool that
Got it.
there's no municipal services without 311. Like that is a super, super important tool to train people to post and put pictures up because they really track that. Even with rats, like if there's like one of the blocks, it's just like rats, like people should, you know, take a picture of the burrow or just be like, you know, if you don't have a picture, just say like, we need this. And the MOCR, again, is the person who can pull together the team to come and like do a walkthrough and check it out so that they can put a plan together. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anyone else?
Would you put the application for the Adopt the Block in the chat?
Yes, it is on the Adopt a Block website. Let me go back there. It's an online
And
form.
can I ask one question?
Yeah.
If the ANC wanted to adopt multiple blocks, would we include all those blocks on like one application, or
Yeah, I think in this instance, hold on, let me get back to Zoom. Zoom.
and would, like, let's say it's multiple blocks throughout the area, if we just put ANC 5D for like certain hotspot areas that we adopt, would we
Yeah,
need
I
to
would,
separate different names
um,
like in between commissioners?
yeah, hold on, sorry, I'm a little
Okay.
distracted. I'm
No,
trying
you're
to
good. You're
find
good.
okay, there you are. Okay, now I'm gonna share. So yeah, this is something I think to talk about, right? Because I think here it is. It's on the adoptablock.dc.gov. And when you go there, there's a place on the home that says apply. So you would apply here, and then it says identify your blocks, where you check the map. And here you would put in an address of a street that you think you want to adopt.
Maybe right now let's do 1016 17th place.
Northeast. So there you go. So you check that, and then we go in, we go in, we go in. Okay. So now here it is. So this says that Kilimo Network adopted it, but
They've never actually done a cleanup though. The
yeah,
signs
and that's
actually just
interesting.
went up. Yeah.
So that's 1100 to 1099. Is that what you wanted? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can look up though, like I can do it from my end, but not you. So I, on my end, can find, like, I was here, or I started in April, and I was the one that put in Kilima Network. And I think they were one of my first, let me look up. Yeah, I think so. Sometimes I have good contact for them, sometimes I don't, but I am more than happy to, I'm just looking up because when they do this, these are my adopta blocks. And I know they did it like in, so that's weird because you don't know who, yeah, Kilima Network. Yeah. So they, oh, and they're in here twice as just the same. Yeah. Okay. So one thing is like, is there a sign up? Because I will, Derek Johnson. Anyone know Derek Johnson?
I actually think I do. I think it's one of the gentlemen that is typically outside typically. So I can possibly talk to him just to see if they plan to do any cleanups. Now that I know that it's him, I
Yeah.
could just discuss with him just to see what the plans are.
Yeah.
But this would be kind of the typical way. Let's say if this street wasn't
Yeah. So
adopted.
do you have another address that I can?
Does anyone else have an address of an area that they would want to adopt?
Yeah, how about 1413 Trinidad?
14. And again, this is the interface that you guys would see. So
Right.
you can 13,
13
Trinidad Street.
Ave. It was there.
Did I spell right? No.
It was there a second ago.
TRNI.
Trin-I, not instead of A. Sorry about that.
My glasses. Trinidad. Sorry.
Avenue.
Oh, Avenue.
And it
Yeah.
looks like a 1. You put
Ah,
a 1 in instead of.
Sorry. It's late. Okay. Trinidad Avenue. It's an avenue.
Avenue, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Here we are.
Okay. So now we're going to, here you go. Zoom in. And that is, so if this is the block, let's see.
Mhm.
So it looks like it is not adopted. So here, this is where you can click on this block. And there's a way to select it. I've never done it from this side, but I think when you apply, you just put in that address,
Yeah.
right? And then
And-
I'm the one who takes it and then I will make it green. So if it's not green on the map, so for you,
Gotcha.
these are like, if this is your ANC area, oops.
Uh-huh.
Not used to this. Okay. Okay. So let's say, so there's a ton of blocks that are not adopted, right? But
Yeah.
a lot of these, like we just saw with the Killiman Wreck or whatever, Derek Johnson, they're not active, right? And so hopefully there'll be a mix of ones, and we can't do federal land. So that's the other thing. So no NPS land. So we can only do DC.
So Shar, if you want a naming convention, happy to go with, like ANC 5D or.
Yeah, so you can, that's for your sign. Oh, so back to the issue. So I would say like one way to do it is that each commissioner or community member kind of chooses a set number of blocks, right? 4 as a minimum, but you can definitely do more if you have access to kind of like more volunteers. And then I would say for each set, so let's say it's 6, we do it in 2s. So let's say each person adopts 6 blocks or 8 blocks, then I would do it as separate applications, but you can put for for what goes on the sign, you can put like, let's say it's ANC 4D beautification group or whatever, you know what I mean? You can like figure out what you want that, and then each person would have the same thing on your signs, essentially.
What exactly constitutes a block? Like, is it all the way around, all 4?
Yeah, no,
the
a
whole
block would just
square?
be like, if you look here, like this is a block right here. So like that's a block. Let's see who
So it's just one side of the street or both sides of the
it is.
street?
Both sides of the street.
Okay.
It is both sides of the street, but sometimes there's a block that is, this is like Owen Place Northeast and Friends.
Yes, do we know if those are recent? A bunch of those corner, because that's where we were gonna be looking.
Yeah, I doubt. I doubt. My guess is based on how much I'm going through the data, like most of these blocks are not adopted, or they've been adopted, but like I would check, is there a sign if there's a sign up, that means at some point they maybe did something. My data that I can look at, I can find out. I don't really have it. I can find a date of the application.
Okay.
So pretty much anything, if your guys are saying like, we've never seen anybody, we don't know whatever this person is, like it's just not, this is Owen Place, Northeast and Friends, right? So maybe, do you know someone at Owen Place? It's a short little block. If you do, great, you can ask them. You're like, hey, I see this sign, do you do these cleanups? Or you just, I will make that green line go away, right? And then I'll tell DDOT to take down a sign. But knowing if there's a sign up is really important, because I can't tell, like, it is confusing because you might want to adopt it, and then maybe you're like, oh, it's already adopted. Or people, I get calls all the time and they're like, there's this, we've never seen anyone clean. So I'm going to go on the side of you guys. And if someone calls back and is like, where's my sign? Like, I didn't, I'm just kind of like, well, you adopted it 3 years ago, it's been 2 years. So I put out a survey to every email that I had. A lot of them got, they weren't valid. I got a handful, maybe 20 people saying, just release it. I don't live here. I don't do this anymore. And then I got about 120 people who said like, yes, I want to stay and adopt a block. So, and then I've been adding new adopt a blocks, but right now it says again that we have 1,300 blocks adopted. Again, some people are doing 2, 4 or more. And that number, that was 1,600 just like the other day, because I've been just, going through it and willy-nilly deleting it. But you guys have eyes, on this spot. So that's why I think the best way to do this is each of you to pick, I don't know if like this is the area, like I'm not sure in the ANC area, like what is 5D, but I think I know Kingman Park. You're not in Kingman Park, are you?
No.
Okay, because they've adopted a lot of blocks. I don't think they've been doing cleanups, but they've adopted them. So yeah, I would look at this map and look at also what you guys want to do, and each, if there's, I don't know, 5 people on your beautification, 7 people, I'm not sure how many are on it or how many want to engage. But the key would be that with you guys as kind of the applicants who put it in as individuals, then you're essentially like the captain, if you will. And then you would coordinate together on, so instead of us, like for the supplies or for registering the cleanup, you don't each have to register it. You can just say, community cleanup. And then you can check adopt a blocks, and then you would just list out how many volunteers and then where the collection is of the spot. So we're not asking you, like, we don't know exactly. Do we know what blocks? I don't know. Anyways, you can see it. So you could do one application for the supplies. That's what I would suggest. But for each sign or the area that you're going to be doing, I think it would be better, instead of like ANC submit like 25 blocks, I think it would be better to have, boots on the ground for each section. And then you guys would coordinate whether it's monthly or quarterly, what that kind of community cleanup, and then how you want to make it, fun, like people can eat pizza or I don't know, do something.
We actually have tools. We have bought trash pickers and bags.
Oh,
and
great.
We have brooms and rakes, and people can borrow those anytime.
Amazing.
Yeah, we have a checkout process, so we're good with tools, thank God.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And then if you need, if that's great. And then again, a lot of this then is just the process, because you guys are already organized, and just making sure you get even if you don't need the tools, you want to submit the application, the application, which is, I can show you where that is, which is confusing because it's on a separate site, but hopefully we're going to fix that soon. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to the Mayor's, oops, Office of the Clean City. So, and again, when you adopt the blocks, I send you confirmation about the blocks, what your signs are going to say, which blocks you adopted. And then I also send you the survey form, and I send you this form, which is on it's the community cleanup request form. And this is just an online form. I don't know, my internet is going so slow. Anyways, it'll come up and you can see. I don't know. Okay, yeah. So yeah, 15 days prior to your cleanup, this form comes to me. We want, if you know, again, the loan materials need to come back, but typically the mokers are the ones that will come out and deliver anything that you might need, and then they come and pick them back up. But that might be changing. Anyways, just your name, your email, address, phone, alternate contact, what ward you would check, yes. And then the details, you know, the date, I don't know why that's on there twice, the time, and then the locations, right? But then here's the supplies. If you don't need any, you don't do that. But the collection point is what's really, it's one collection site per event. So I would, in this case, maybe it should be each adopt a block. I'll have to think about that. But because I think it's gonna be hard to have one collection site for all of your blocks. Like, let's say if you had 20 blocks, but that's what I would say. The coordination is probably going to fall on you guys, right? To say, okay, September 27th, we're having a cleanup from, you know, 9 to noon or 11 or whatever, and then set that date, do whatever promotion you need to do, and make sure 2 weeks before that we're receiving this, even if you don't need the supplies, but that we can schedule the bulk pickup.
You know, I had an issue maybe you can help with, and it would be really great. I had called 311 to schedule a pickup after one of our cleanups, and they told me shoot, what did they say again, Shar? Do you remember? They said we won't. Oh yeah, they said we will not pick it up unless you're using our bags.
So, okay, so we have, and this might be just different bags that you might want to buy, but we give out these compostable, they're like green bags.
But this was for trash, not really just for.
No, I mean, this is for trash. They're like,
oh,
it's like a roll, and instead of like the big black, like contractor bags.
right.
So there are bags that I would need to talk about with DPW, because we need to figure that out. That will be something I need to figure out. But for now, like, if you don't use our bags, but we ran out of these bags, like, honestly. So we're giving out the contractor bags, but we're just telling David Williams that, like,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, we're just telling DPW, like, when we schedule it, we're out of the compostable bags. So,
well, the thing is that I think it's just ridiculous to have to get the bags from DPW to use, and when I don't think there should be anything wrong with a non-compostable bags, but it just causes a huge hassle. I mean, and I was hoping maybe you would be able to talk to 311. And I did tell Randy Thorpe about it and Inspector Brooks Garrett about this, but neither of them responded. And I said, could you please maybe talk with 311 and tell them that, you know, for sure, we should not have to use DPW bags. It just seems absolutely absurd to me. And it's going to cause us to have a lot fewer cleanups, because who wants to go and get those bags when we have, you know,
when we have them, again, things might be changing, but I would just say there is probably a reason, I don't know why, environmentally, about why we want them in those compostable bags instead of the big contractor bags. But as I said, when we're not working through 311, the Clean City. I'm going directly to DPW and saying, like, I submit something to them and say location of pickup, time of the event, you know,
Mhm.
and
But I mean, I was just hoping you would say something to 311, like you were in a position of enough
but that's what I'm saying.
authority.
Instead of 311, it's really DPW. It's like the people who are actually picking it up. So we,
Yeah, but 311 told me that, and I just think that they need to be told that that should not be, they should not be telling people that at all. They
so
should
they
just
three, so you sent in or
willing to pick it
you
up.
called or communicated with 311 about
Yeah,
getting bags picked up.
right, at a
And
spot.
and then 311,
Said, well, we're not sure if we're gonna be able to pick it up because you're not using our bags.
so they didn't send you to DPW. Like usually 311 is just like,
No, that's what they said. We're not sure, and I have to check. She says I have to check. I just think that they need to stop telling people that. They need to
yeah,
just be able to just pick up the bags. It's absurd. They're telling people that, then that's gonna cause people to do a lot fewer cleanups.
yeah.
If
So
it's
there's,
her.
so this is the confusing part. So things might be changing, but there's the Office of the Clean City, which does community cleanups and adopt-a-blocks, but basically the adopt-a-blocks, if you're doing your quarterly cleanups at a minimum, those are community cleanups. So it's kind of merged. And then DPW, 6 months out of the year, they have a program called Helping Hands. And you can also schedule cleanups from them, and they actually deliver it, like the DPW people, employees
No, I
deliver it,
know.
and then they pick up your supplies. But they also, when you do it through Helping Hands, they also have a process of like when you're, so we're trying, I think what's going to happen soon is that we're going to have a way in the new fiscal year to somehow coordinate Helping Hands and the Clean City cleanups, right? And it's awkward also because we hand out
Yeah.
certain supplies and then DPW has a different set of supplies.
I mean, I'm just hoping that you would possibly say a word to 311 and tell them they should not be telling people that.
Yeah, I mean, I will pass this on. I think this is
Yeah.
something that this is like a moker thing, right? To
Yeah.
have the mokers help fix this. So um
Okay.
I
I
would,
didn't realize that.
yeah, so if you ANC, what are you?
I'll talk to the mokers then too. I'll
ANC
put you on
5D. I
the
mean,
track.
I can shoot them a note, but
That would be great.
ANC
Because they should not,
5D. And what's your name?
Anna Roblin, ANNAROBLIN. Yeah, they should not be telling people that because that's gonna
Yeah.
cause people not to do cleanups.
Yeah, and again, the cleanups, like that's why we want people submitting them to, like if people just do a cleanup, which is great, but it's not like through, again, you don't have to be an adopt-a-block to do a cleanup. So a community member or an association can be like, we're having a cleanup. And if they have a cleanup though, we don't know about it. We don't know like how many bags of trash or all the stuff around the good works that they're doing. So it's just really important whether it's through Helping Hands or through the Clean City for cleanups so that we know about them, right? So that we can help do the scheduling and then not have problems like what the bags
Do you
are.
want us to go to you guys for bag pickup instead of calling 311?
Yeah, well, if you are registering the cleanup, that's the whole thing about that cleanup supply form is that,
Even if it's not through Adopt-a-Block?
right, if it's a community cleanup, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Clean City, we do community cleanups, which is just like a one-time thing. It's not part of an adopt-a-block. But most of our cleanups that happen are through adopt-a-blocks because people are supposed to be doing them at a minimum of a quarterly basis.
Okay, so we should skip calling 311 and just go to you guys.
Right. Now, yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
great.
So like that's the whole
Okay.
point is like you want 15 days in advance. You, even if you don't need our supplies, you want to register, you want to send, you want to submit this. So at least we know that Trinidad is having a cleanup on Saturday and they don't need supplies, but here's the collection point. And then DPW is going to come out and pick up that trash. You don't need
Okay,
to use
great.
311. Now, if there's mattresses or stuff that you find that's bulk trash, that's when you schedule a bulk pickup by calling 311. And it
Okay,
may not
great.
be, it's not your trash or your mattress, but you basically are like, this is in the alley, and you take a picture and schedule
Great.
that.
And so I'm not showing anything in my chat, but do you want to tell us where to go to for the application? My chat, I might just be having technical problems with
Sure,
my
I'm
chat.
on it right now on the screen. It's yeah, let me put this in here. So this is the, and again, this supply form, when I send the confirmation, this is on the mayor's, this is on the Office of the Clean City website. As opposed to I need to get it on the Adopt a Block website, but Office of the.
And can I ask you, we have some cleanups actually this upcoming weekend that we haven't put in a collection. We haven't put in this form for yet. I know that it's not 15 days in advance, but if I submit the form right now.
If you submit the form now, I'm, it's unlikely, but we still want to know that you're having a cleanup. And again,
Okay.
there are ways to get that by calling 311 like the day before and saying,
Got it.
pick this
Got it.
up.
No, that sounds good.
Or, again, like depending on how many people or how much trash, like you can put that in your residential trash for that time. It just depends on what it is.
We have a whole list of upcoming cleanups. We have maybe 5 or 10
Well,
between
that's
5 and
great.
10.
Are they around or on blocks that
Schedule.
you're want to adopt?
No, not necessarily. No, these are just cleanups on blocks that really need it, that we have scheduled already.
Right. But why wouldn't you then want to adopt those blocks, I guess?
And I guess like I could see us adopting those blocks, just as maybe the Trash and Beautification Committee, whatever the name may be, and we consistently do cleanups there since we typically stage all of our cleanups in they're different areas, but they do vary.
Mhm.
But we are hitting, I want to say, most of our 5D single member districts at least once a quarter. So it would fit the kind of muster that kind of you described for the adopt the blocks, if that makes sense. So like, while we may not adopt every block where we do the cleanups, we might adopt some of them, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra work, so I think not everybody is going to want to adopt the block, but we have to see what we can do.
Yeah. And again, the main thing is on our end is like fill out the post-event survey if I'm just putting that's again, these are all tools that are on the Adopt a Block website, but like when you do have a cleanup, I would say register it, even if it's not an Adopt a Block. But I would say if you're thinking about adopting blocks, that you want to, go to the ones that are most important or the places that you can do quarterly cleanups. Does that make sense?
And registering it is what exactly?
That's this cleanup, that's this form that that's this one.
Okay.
It's this form. The online form. That's community cleanup form.
Communityaffairs.dc.
No.
Oh.
It's on the mayor's office of the Clean City.
Is it the Argus? HTTP survey 123 Argus?
No, it is go back.
Those are the only links I have.
This is the mayor's office of the Clean City. It is housed there, but it's not. Here, I'll put it in the chat. So there's two sites. There's an Adopt a Block website, and then there's the mayor's office of the Clean City. The supply form.
We shouldn't need the supply form. I guess
What I'm trying to say is the supply form
yeah.
is the registration form. Even if you don't need supplies, that's the form that you can do the pickup. And we want to know that you're having a cleanup, so we know that you're having a cleanup. But it's mainly about the pickup location.
Right. So
and if it's an Adopt a Block, then
do you have the link? Do you
Yeah.
have the link
to the
Okay.
form.
Yeah, to the form. for the registration for a cleanup, just to let
So
you
that's what I
know.
was saying. Like, even if you don't need the supplies, that's
Okay, I got
great.
it.
But the main thing is this cleanup supply form. You know, would have a name, it would have contact, the street address, phone number, and then the ward, and are you an adopt a blockee? And if you are, you would check that. And then that helps us know that this is one of your cleanups. And then the date, a time, blah, 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 how many people you think are coming. So you just don't check these. If you don't need any requested supplies, you just don't set them. But then this collection point, bag trash only, no bulk trash, that's where you say 1531 14th Street Northeast. Like, that's going to be the place that it's going to be collected. And so if you have
Right.
like 5 blocks or whatever block, that's why I was saying, if you do it more like, if you just need to get the trash to one place, I guess is the point. But if you have kind of cleanups in like 3 different areas, it's kind of like this cluster and this cluster, you would basically register 3 different cleanups without supplies, but where the collection point is. Does that make sense?
Does anyone have any questions?
Did I lose people?
I don't have any. I just want to put in a plug that I do have a cleanup on Saturday, and I'm gonna submit the
You just
form this
submit the
evening.
form. I just please submit the form. And
Yeah,
then
I'm gonna submit it
afterwards,
after this.
yeah, submit the form, and maybe there's a miracle, like maybe we don't have a lot of cleanups and we can have DPW come by.
Yeah.
And then if nothing else, then we know you have a cleanup, and then we can have a, like, we might have a collection point, or you'll hear, you know, that, sorry, we don't have that, but next time, you know, 15 days in advance.
Gotcha. No, that
The
sounds good.
post-event survey, I definitely want that, whether or not we are able to pick up the trash or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we want to know, is it 7 bags of trash? You know, what was the most kind of trash that you pick up, that kind of thing. And that's over here. This is, which is also on our website. I put it in the chat. This is in the Adopt a Block website. So it's like,
Okay.
organized it, what's your group, you know, neighbors, caring person, you know, email, the cleanup date, how many hours. So we collect this because we want to know overall, like, you know, we've had 1,000 volunteers, you know, come out and picking, you know, doing neighborhood cleanups, you know, the condition of the trash, like, is a lot of trash. You know, these numbers, that's what I was saying, is the Department of Environment. They look at these because there are regulations that they have to like track. And if you have any pictures of anything, like a group photo, you know, we could feature, you know, whatever, you can add some pictures. So that we can use.
I have a question. I just like go out and with my own like trash picker and bucket and pick up trash either like weekly or every other week. I'm definitely interested in adopting a block, but would you still want that form to be submitted just for like an individual doing something like that?
That's the thing. Like, if you're just out there, if you're just like, you know, I pick up trash all the time too, but it's not like an organized like cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why what I started with is the adopt a block. It's that what I'm trying to pilot is like, people wouldn't just adopt 2 blocks, right? But as a collective, the beautification committee would adopt, you know, 25 blocks, right? So that when you have one of these quarterly cleanups, you have quite a bit of trash. That doesn't mean you can't be out there and just picking up. But if you are picking up it, like, I have a lot of people who are like, it's just a solo person adopted 2 blocks, right? So they don't really have, they go out there like once a week or every day, right? And what I tell them is, you don't put in a a supply form or registration. You just do it. And then for the post-event survey, we can only do it in whole bags. So if you're just going and you have, you pick up a quarter of a trash bag and you just put it in your trash, it's not like you're going to save that trash bag and then keep putting stuff in, but you want to just memory wise remember, like, it might take you 4 times to fill up a bag, or it might be 1 time. And you could then submit that post-event survey
Okay.
on the date that you submit it, even if you picked up trash, to add up to a bag over a month. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I think the most successful ones are when they really are more like community cleanups, just because that really gets at the engagement point. And if you already have a lot of community cleanups, it just seems, well, to make sense to submit them in advance so that we can kind of track it or help you or do that DPW lineup for the collection point. But the adaptive blocks, that's where you get kind of the sign, and that's kind of gets you out in the community so that people know about the beautification committee or whatever it is that you want in the sign so they can get involved. And then that's something you can share out through your channels to say like, hey, we're having our quarterly adaptive block cleanup, come on out. And then you would, you could have people go out, to the different places. And again, you can clean up blocks that are not adopted. But figure out like what, if you all submit, if let's say there's 20 blocks that you guys as ANC 5D and the community adopted, my only thing is like to coordinate when that cleanup is, right? So that for the quarterly or the monthly or whatever you decide. And again, you might have adopted these blocks over here, but the real problem is over, east of there. That's fine. Like we don't have, you can decide that's the cleanup. You just want to register the cleanup, right? In advance. And make sure that your adopted blocks are actually getting the quarterly cleanups. How often do you guys do cleanups?
We've greatly increased our cleanups over the last month or two. We're sort of getting in the swing of things, and more commissioners have signed up to do cleanups. So I think we have about 8 on the agenda coming up.
Okay, if you have those dates, you should submit all of those. You should submit them so that they're in advance, so that we have, some people, I have some things that people in, May submitted one for November.
Yeah, we'll submit them.
Yeah, and then you can think about, eyes and ears from the beautification committee, like what are the areas that you want to make sure, what are those blocks that you want to have that engagement around? Residential blocks typically.
Different commissioners are in charge of the cleanups. Like it's not all me or Char. A couple of our other commissioners are gonna be the people in charge of those, so we can tell them.
So they should submit the form, right? Just for their own cleanup. But if any of these blocks are being adopted by them, then you also want to go through the process of adopting that block, right? So you get then you get in the rhythm of setting up your quarterly cleanups at a minimum for whatever spot that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how willing people will be to go through the process of adopting them, but we'll certainly try.
Yeah, and then if it's just the folks that are on this call, like just, I guess on your end, all I'm saying is it would be really great to pilot multiple adopt-a-blocks areas that all do it on the same day. So that it's a bigger event, essentially.
Right.
And you get a lot more trash.
I think that we could like engage with Wheatley, since they already do like a monthly cleanup at J. Cole, the Trinidad Farmers Market. There's the Trinidad Charter School, there's the KIPP School, Gallaudet. Like there are schools I think that we can really engage with that I think have people that would be willing to do this.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
we'll
like
have
you
to-
can adopt the block, or you can say, hey, I've adopted, these 10 blocks. Like, do you want to participate in these cleanups, right?
Mhm.
That you plan out. And my only thing is, I'm sorry, I don't know your name with the pretty sunglasses, but
Rachel.
Rachel, there, I see you.
Mhm.
You know, Rachel, you adopted these 10 blocks, and Matthew adopted these 10 blocks, and they're not like contiguous. It would be coordination through the beautification committee to say, hey Matthew and Rachel and Char and Jennifer, we are, let's plan out our quarterly cleanup, right? Which is the big community cleanup. Whereas the 10 blocks that you did, or the whatever 5 blocks, 6 blocks, sorry, it has to be even, whatever those are, you can just do a monthly cleanup on that, right?
Mhm.
And just maybe it's just you for that, or you and your family or whatever it is. But for the bigger, like when we're all out there, like you can reach, you can do more. And then that's how you can engage the community, right? Like
Mhm.
community association or business association, and say, hey, we're doing this. And then maybe, maybe Gallaudet's going to have coffee and donuts for you, or, you would work with them to engage them as a partner.
Mhm.
Figure out how many people, and then you want to cover the adopted blocks, right? But you also can think about a broader area, as long as it's not federal land or private land. Does that make
Right.
sense? I feel like I've
Yeah.
confused you more than I've helped you.
I think it
Mhm.
makes sense.
Okay. So on your end, I would say the next steps are, I forgot your name, that's going to submit the form for the cleanup this weekend, but do that tonight. I'm happy to come out there if you want to do a walkabout. I can also engage with the Mokers, with Christian and Anthony, so that we can first assess the area and then find out the problems, and then we can do another walk that has Department of Buildings, Department of Health for the rats, like all of that. So that's one set of things to do as next steps on your end. And then the other thing to do as a collective and individually is like find out, do you guys, if someone's in this group and you don't want to adopt a block, you just want to help participate in the cleanups, that's fine. But anyone who wants to adopt the blocks, you'd be kind of like as the applicant, you'd be the contact, for those blocks. And then on your end, you guys would plan out kind of the larger community that also covers the adopted blocks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the application is like really easy. And then also, sorry, one more task, sorry, as a follow-up, is to send me, when you look at that map on our website and you see all these green lines of people who are supposedly adopted it, I just need the address, right? The 1305 Hamilton Street Northeast, so that I can then look it up on my end and I can deactivate them, and then I can activate you if you want to adopt it. And it would be helpful to know if there's a sign up or not. So I can let DDOT know to take down a sign when they put up a sign.
Okay.
This makes sense to me. And I guess we could coordinate. I think doing a community walk would be super helpful too, just to kind of like show
Agreed.
you kind of where we are and like where the adopt-a block signs are, and maybe every area that we're considering, just so that you can see it, give an assessment of like, hey, like I see trash, I wrote in and I see trash over here too, and it's just a block over, like whatever that looks like, and maybe that'll be helpful as well. Um, just to kind of do those things together as we're kind of putting together these applications for the adopt-a blocks.
Yeah. And would you want the Mokers there to like assess, like if there's a place that's illegal dumping, or like
Oh
If
yeah.
it's
Oh
just
yeah.
gonna be like a clean city walk to figure out your adopter blocks, I'm happy to do that. That could be one walk. If the other walk that I was talking about is kind of the larger area that you're having, regardless of if you're doing community, quarterly cleanups or not. Like there's going to be trash where
Yeah.
if you do quarterly cleanups, there's still going to be trash, right?
Yes.
But over time, the idea is there's on your adopt blocks, more people are just like, hey, this is my street. I don't need to wait for cleanup. I can pick up trash. Like I remember growing up, we used to pick up, I mean, it was just like, we wouldn't just walk by, but now everyone walks by it. So
Yeah, and I guess I would suggest let's do both. Like let's do the Office of the Clean City walk, and let's also do a walk with the Mokers and Department of Buildings. And I mean, I think the
Department
more
of Health, the
eyes,
rats, like, yeah, we're going to look to you to find out, like, I probably
This-
would have one of the Mokers come anyways to the Clean City, but just so that you can connect with them and, meet them if you don't know them and talk about maybe some of the broader issues in the community. So, and then we can schedule if we see things that, we need agencies to get involved with.
Like, how big are those? Like, how far do they usually walk in those? Because I feel like we're gonna need to do a handful of them, just because like we're kind of spread out our SMD.
Yeah. I would, yeah. I don't really know. Like,
and
if there's
maybe
different issues for each one, like, if there's really rats and trash over here, but this problem is dumping over here and they're like far apart, I would that's why I want the Mokers to be there, right? Because they can figure out, do they need multiple ones, or maybe Christian does some with one set of people and, Anthony's doing some with another. We just have to figure out. I mean, if I think about how big my ANC is, yeah, it would be a lot of ground to cover. But again, that's why focusing in on where where the problem spots are, or just where you live, like you want to adopt the blocks that are, around you. But I can come out and we can bring a Moker and we can do that. Probably would be in October. Like things are a little tight for me right now. It's like Rosh Hashanah next week, and yeah.
and maybe we can create kind of a survey to send around where we'll like kind of detail out and adopt a block, kind of when folks can make a walk, like just some suggested dates and maybe some suggested locations, and maybe Anna, if you can get that out in like maybe the trash and beautification committee email thread, maybe that's a way we can kind of coordinate. um Maybe we have neighbors from the Trinidad side, and that's the side we focus on for the walk. That could also be something.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, there's like tasks that you guys have to figure out. I mean, first and foremost, I would say let's deactivate the blocks that you're kind of like, we want to adopt them, right? That's an action step that I could take without having, a walk, for you guys to say like that Killama walk, Derek Johnson's 4 blocks, you're like, he's not doing anything, so we're going to adopt them, right? And then we can start that process of deactivating the green lines that are not, are long gone, basically. And then you still, just because you adopt a block, it doesn't mean you have to clean up the next day, right? So, I mean, you got 3 months to figure out for your first cleanup, essentially. But we would love it if you do it sooner than later. So,
No, that sounds great.
okay. Well, good. I'm glad I could be of service. I feel like I
Yeah.
talked a lot. So, but it was
No,
really
you-
nice to meet everyone. And who's my main contact again?
Me or Char, both of us, I guess.
Yeah,
It's the
Anna
right
or Char. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say on your end, do some I think it would be helpful for me to understand kind of if you want to do this collective approach that I'm talking about, and if you don't want to do it, it's totally fine. You could just each adopt 2 blocks and have at it, right? It's up to you. I'm just pitching kind of this when I talk to Char, right? When I talk to you.
Yes, yes. We could talk more about it. Just I know from a standpoint of we're already doing this type of
Right.
thing. So I'm like, we already do it. So I'm like, since we're already doing it, like we might as well just adopt the blocks so
Correct.
that
And you might as well
maybe
kind of
it'll
get
help.
credit for it, right? And then, you kind of are part of the adoptive block family. And sometime, I mean, we might have trainings, or we might have an event or a nationals night out or something, right? So like you're part of kind of a bigger thing, but also then this whole collection point, is pretty important.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we should bring this up at our next POW meeting, because some of the blocks, for instance, in other SMDs, not mine or Char's, are very problematic for a lot of trash. Like, for
Yeah.
instance, Capitol Avenue, Ivy City, it appears to be extremely bad. So, like, I'm thinking ideally some of those blocks could be adopted, and I don't know if Commissioner Rhodes, has Ivy City, would want to or not,
Right. And
but
that's where that's a conversation on your end. And you could be like, hey, the beautification is going to adopt a whole bunch of blocks. We're really interested in having these. Do you want to be part of the adopted blocks? Or I'm just coming to you to say, like, I know it's in your SMD, but that's like a fake boundary. But like we have volunteers that are going to come out on a quarterly basis to clean up.
yeah, I mean, I hope we have CSOSA, so we do always have some, but we have not been getting enough. We have been getting hardly any volunteers from residents
Yeah.
volunteering.
And I think that's where the signs and the adopt a lot, it kind of gives you like a program. Again, you're already doing this, but it kind of might give you a more, I don't know, like a better package, right? To kind of promote.
Yeah, when we're going to make up a cleanup flyer and put that everywhere, and it'll have a QR with our running cleanup. So
Yeah, that's great. And
yeah,
again, you can be proud of like, we're part of the Office of the Clean City,
right. There's something I wanted to ask you if you could possibly help with. We need to get information on the legalities of planting miniature community gardens between the sidewalk and the street on that part of
tree
people's
boxes.
land. Not just the tree boxes, just the whole land, the whole square that is between the sidewalk and the street.
We can look at that when we come by. I mean, I know the thing is a lot of those things are DDOT property or DDOT, but no one in the city, unfortunately, has a lot of the maintenance part, right? So like a Bid or a Main Street, like they're maintaining, that space. But for the residential areas, it's clear that each resident is supposed to be doing the tree box or whatever that's outside of their house, but it's not, yeah, we'd have to look at that, what the area is. There are some people that have some places, they have like a kind of like a beautification committee, but they're working on, it's a median that they're doing tons of plantings, and the community is doing that and the community is maintaining it.
Well, I think what we need most is to find out if it's legal or not that we plant community gardens on residents' property between the sidewalk and the street. We need to find out the legalities to make sure we're not breaking any laws. That's like the number one task that we really need the most right now.
Okay, well, that's again something between me and the Mokers. We can get to the bottom of that.
Yay! great. That would be so great. Yeah, because I think it would be an amazing idea to have like community gardens like between the sidewalk and the street. And anyone that wants one, we could um, figure out exactly, we could supply some of the seeds and organic seeds and
Yeah. The main thing is just like, yeah, if you work with native plants, then you don't need as much maintenance. The main thing is just, yeah, who's going to water it, who's taking care of it, who's weeding it, that kind of thing.
Right. Right. I think that, any resident that's excited about that idea will do a large part of it, and then they could get the group of their neighbors. We will figure it out, but I just think it's a really
Yeah. And
amazing.
again, like I would just say that's all part of the adopt-a block, right? Like if you're doing those, you want that block to be on the adopt-a block list.
I don't know. I don't think it would have to be, but certainly it wouldn't be a bad idea. It would be great. We could just, I don't think that needs to be under the auspices of adopt-a-block necessarily, though. Like, I think a lot of residents are not going to want to do adopt-a-block and that, and that.
I'm just saying that beautification effort that's part of that block, right? So.
Mhm.
And
Like-
I think ultimately the entire goal is if we adopt this block, we're keeping it clean, beautified, all of those
Exactly.
things, right?
Yeah,
So
you're kind of
like
eyes and ears on it, and when you see things that are not right, you
fix it, right? So
Right.
if we're gonna do tree boxes, to me, we also should adopt those blocks because we're also gonna keep it clean because the
Right.
tree boxes are there, right?
Right.
So like I think they kind of go hand in hand. So like if we could and maybe we pitch the idea, we can send it out in a survey to folks that were on the call, weren't able to make the call, see what their thoughts are. And we also pitch it to other commissioners during our upcoming meeting on Tuesday. And we see kind of where we go from there, like who's interested. And maybe it's just the folks on this call tonight, we started, and maybe it grows after that, after people see the success, right?
Yeah.
So I think the kind of piloted approach just to see kind of where it goes, how it looks, and
like how many blocks, so that then
exactly.
Right. So then we can do kind of that larger scale community cleanup 4 times a year, which might be weeding some of these tree boxes, or it might be planting, or it can be all sorts of things on that day. And then of course you're going to be maintaining it or do other things other days, but that's kind of the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it. I love it a lot.
Okay. Guys, I gotta go because I haven't had dinner. So
no, this ain't okay. I went off camera to eat, so I completely understand.
I have not. So I'm like craving my dinner downstairs. So thank you for coming to me and inviting me into this. I love what you guys are doing. I would love, Char, maybe someone can send me kind of like a little recap, or some of the items that are like, when you want the walk or something like that, or where the issues are, or that kind of thing. And then any names, any blocks that that have a sign up that you're like, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Because that I can take care of quickly. And then also put in whatever cleanups you're doing so that you can make sure they're in the system.
Yeah, and I'll send you a recap just of everything we discussed. And then hopefully like in the next weekish or two, we'll be able to circle back with kind of, hey, like let's do this clean city walk. Hopefully a day that's most like advantageous to everyone that wants to join. So it would likely be in the evening.
Yeah, that's harder, I will say, because the Department of Building, they're not going to come out for but a lot of times you can do like a 4 o'clock or something.
Okay. No, that sounds good.
Something in the afternoon. But yeah, you would have to kind of plan around also their schedules. So
yeah.
And maybe not everyone can make it, but as long as there's a point person who knows the issues, right?
Yes. For sure.
And that's something also the Mokers can help with, like just in terms of not the adaptive block, but just that part is around like where are the rats and where's the illegal dumping and where are there really hot spots, you know, of issues.
Right.
All right, guys. Thank you. And thank you for, you guys are doing it and it's really impressive. So your commitment, you know, to doing these cleanups and gardening and stuff is just, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So thank you.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you so much for joining us again. This was
Yeah.
super helpful.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank
Have a
you
great night,
so much.
guys.
Yeah,
Take
it's
care.
amazing.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rachel. I think you're the other.
Yes, thank you. I'm definitely interested in exploring more of the gardening.
Hmm.
I volunteer with DC Natives, which is a local organization that plants native gardens for free, and they are
Well, we had
specifically
talked to,
focused.
oh, sorry,
There's
we met Humberto too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He helped me plant my garden here, so um definitely interested in like planting more native plants, whether like in the that was my thought with like the hill strips, if they can't be food, like maybe we could at least do native plants to attract pollinators. And there's actually a really nice block. I think it's either Queen or Holbrook Terrace. If you're walking down West Virginia and you turn onto Queen, I think it's Queen. Um, a bunch of like the apartment buildings have done like mass plantings in their tree boxes and they look really nice.
Wow. No, that would be amazing. Yeah, that would be really great. I'm so excited about the idea between the sidewalk and the street, if we can just make sure it's legal, and I'm sure a lot of residents would be excited about it too.
I definitely know like at least just planting like plants, not food plants, is totally legal and fine because the city like expects that we take care of that space.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Just planting like plants, like flowers, is totally fine to do in those spaces. I'm not sure about like food plants, but uh, just planting flowers on those is totally fine to do. The city owns that property, but they expect us, like the expectation is that like you as the owner of the house that is sits in front of that property or the building that sits in front of that property, take care of that space.
Right. Yeah, that's great, but I I was thinking food plants,
Food,
really. I mean,
yeah.
like like a small, like a community gardens
Mm-hmm.
on that space, and then, you know, the ANC could supply like organic seeds and other neighbors can help, and it can sort of be a mini community garden on a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people's lawns between the sidewalk and the street. And I just think it would be really cool.
Yeah, I think so too. It'd be great. And just like a nice little way to provide food for folks.
Yeah, and the community can share in it and harvest the food for themselves.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely like more excited about that. And yeah, I will this is my first time joining the committee meeting. But I will be seeing you guys more.
Thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you both for all that you do for our community. I really appreciate it.
We're working on it. And are you in our beautification chat, in our cleanup chat?
No, I'm
Oh,
not. Do you have the
okay.
links?
I'll just have to add you. It's just an email group chat.
Oh,
But
okay.
I just need your email address and I'll add you. Want me to add you to both of them?
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. I'll put my email in the chat so you can copy paste.
Excellent. Thank you. Got it.
Cool.
Yup, I'll add you in today or tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and also I'm excited to like hear more about the food forest too at the Trinidad Rec Center.
I know. I'm excited too.
Well, I
Like, and
actually,
then, oh, go ahead.
there's like a space, so I have like a little side yard, and the neighbor next to me also has a side yard, and then in between our yards, there's a sidewalk that goes from the front to the alley, and it's technically like our property lines meet in the middle of the sidewalk, so that sidewalk is not city property, it's our properties. And I would really like to dig up the sidewalk and plant food trees there
Oh,
and
yeah.
No,
have it
that
be
would
like
be amazing. That
have it
would
be
be
like a little
amazing.
green space that people can still enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
So yes, very much looking forward to hearing more about that so I can start to implement my ideas.
Yeah, yeah. He said he's definitely coming to the October meeting, so third Tuesday instead of
Okay.
Wednesday. Yeah. And I'll send out notices in both group chats too.
Cool. Okay. Sounds good. Great.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I will let you guys go. It's almost 9 p.m.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both.
All
Talk to you
right.
later.
Have a good night, y'all.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Char,
Yeah.
you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Do you want to talk for a second?
Yeah,
Or
no,
you
no, no. I
you
have I have a
you have to
second,
go?
then I gotta go, but I have a second.
Um, I don't feel super capable of writing up the minutes for this, and I know you're like a total expert at it. Would you be able to do it?
Yeah, I'll write it up. I won't be able to send it out, but I can send it to you with what I write up. It's gonna be a high level kind of overview though. Nothing too detailed, but I'll do a recap for commissioners to do a call out to say, hey, we're gonna try to adopt some blocks for the ANC Trash and Beautification Committee to see if there's interest. I'll give a recap to Maria Berry. I can send that, but if you could send the kind of overarching notes to the two different trash and beautification
Of
ones, that'll
course.
be perfect. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I could do
yeah, of
that in
course.
the next like give me about 15 minutes and I can get that going.
You're amazing. Oh my God, I could never. No, that my mind is just not there. Okay, that's great. Yeah, of course. I always send it out to the two groups always. And yeah, I think we should send the same recap probably that you're sending to Maria.
Yeah,
She's
no,
amazing.
yeah,
She's
no, no,
amazing.
no. She's great. When I was talking to her, because I was trying to connect with her about adopt-a-blocks, because in my SMD there's so many blocks that are adopted, but I've actually never seen anyone do a cleanup. So I mean, naturally the question is, who are these people and can I contact them? So I've been trying to look for a contact for months now, and then I
Oh my
finally
God.
got connected to Maria, and she was like, well, yeah, we're working through this right now because at the time, like, I mean, I almost have majority of the streets in my area adopted, but no cleanups are going on and trash is just there. So I'm like, who is the true person that it like that does do the adopt the block? You know what I
I
mean? So
mean, like it could have been, they could have adopted it 30 years ago, and then just like,
yeah.
I mean, probably a lot of those are from a long time ago.
Yeah, no, they are. They are. And they're not active. So my thought was if we as the ANC Trash and Beautification Committee, however people want to name it. I don't have a true like care about how people name them, but my goal is just to make sure that people are actually doing it. So like if the block is adopted and you only have to do one large cleanup every quarter, that's once every 3 months, right? That's not a hard ask for most people to do. And we're already doing that kind of just as the ANC. So I'm like, my thought was if they're already tracking where the trash is, it would help highlight and elevate the fact that, hey, we're doing cleanups because there's a lot of dumping in our area. These are the sites of the dumping. Like, can we get more hands on deck over here to figure this out? So, like, I had an overarching thought behind all of it, but like right now, it's just like there's a whole bunch of trash all the time. And I think it is due to an uptick. There's more people now, right? But there's also like not good trash mindfulness, right? Like I until we talked tonight, I never knew about the composting thing with the food to make the rats go away. I never knew like I mean, I know that rats feed off of the food, but it wasn't natural to me that like if you compost, you can potentially help forego some of the rats in the area. So like
I didn't
I
know either.
yeah, so I think even an education campaign is important behind stuff like that because that's not what my mind thought about. And I'm sure folks don't know about this.
Absolutely,
But I think
absolutely.
also like this is why like the need for social media when it
Yeah.
comes it matters. Like it goes back to the conversation we had with Andy. Part of it is we need somebody to because this meeting's recorded tonight. Like my
Yeah.
ideal scenario would be for like our social media person to listen and listen to this call and recap this meeting to the community, right? Like even if
Right.
it's in a few short posts online just to share that information with folks.
I know,
Um
but the problem is that like he has too much to do and he's not I feel like he's not getting the stuff done that he already has to do.
yeah, and
So
we could talk about it offline because I know unless you could stop the let me see if I can hold tight.
stop the recording.
Yeah, I don't know how though. It says record.
We need to
Oh, hold on.